Oh, so there's a lot going on this week. But the question is, what are we going to be doing and how can we trade this? Guys, first things first, like this video if you do like this type of content. Obviously, as you see here, we have a few things going on in the crypto market. Nothing really major apart from this massive amount of fundamental analysis that we need to be doing on traditional markets first and foremost, because that is going to be the biggest mover of the market. Now, what I'm going to do here, let me just drop this down so we can have a look through the coin market cal, what's happening this week in the top 300 coins. So there's not really too much going on. BNB, FTX, OKX, whatever, Hong Kong FinTech Week, which is quite interesting. Maybe some news to come out the back of this for some of these coins. Maybe these exchanges are going to be listing, hey, this is what our plans are going to be, etc., etc. Little bit of news from the slightly smaller coins. I guess the most significant here is Filecoin, Lotus Summit, but again, it's just a summit. And we have something like Whitebit doing a MEXC global listing. So could be interesting. I'm not really too involved with these, we'll just call them like very small coins at the moment. But what are we looking out for? First things first, we are looking at this bit of basically what's going on? What is going on? So we have the ISM manufacturing PMI. Those come out on at 6 o'clock tomorrow. Not really going to be feeding into the major news story that is happening. And as we know, the major news story is the Fed rate decision. If I haven't mentioned this enough, then you need to subscribe to the channel right now. Also like the video because I talk about this quite a lot and exactly what effect this is going to have on the general market. Obviously, I mean the crypto market. So a little bit of news from New Zealand, nothing too important for us given the size of their economy. I am interested, however, in Germany's unemployment change. So this is going to be quite interesting. And I will also say, guys, out of the Eurozone, we had core inflation data and also GDP growth data. Inflation a smidge over the expectation, so not really too bad. But then we did see GDP growth, pretty well forecast, should we say. And then also we had Mexico. But again, not too important. So we're just looking further on. I think this unemployment change, obviously, we know that Germany is the biggest economy within the Eurozone. So we will see a bit of, I guess, uncertainty, maybe some money moving into the dollar before this event happens at, I think it's like 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock New York time, I want to say. And so that comes in at 10 o'clock my time for the Fed rate decision. And the Fed the Fed press conference. Now, I'm not expecting too much to be happening here during this time, guys, because ultimately they don't have too much data to work off of. We're pretty certain we're going to be hitting it up with a 75 basis point hike. That's pretty much certain. But the real uncertainty comes into having already baked in a 75 basis point hike for December. Now, this gives us a chance for Bitcoin and the wider crypto market to pump if we see this chance reduce. If this turns into this, i.e., we get a higher chance of having a 50 basis point hike, then we will be very happy indeed. And we can all go away having a nice time over Christmas. But why are we not seeing any of that certainty now? And what will be different when we come to December? Well, next week we have, and maybe it says, okay, so we have at the end of this week, we have non-farm payrolls. Then also we have a CPI print the week after. And then guess what? We have another non-farm payroll. And so that comes before this December 14th deadline. And I believe there's also another CPI report. So in between these two meetings, November 2nd and December 14th, the Fed will have two job reports and also they will have two CPI prints as well, which is going to give them a lot more, I guess, understanding of exactly what is happening, how long, or should they continue these 75 basis point hikes. Also, I just want to let you know, guys, tomorrow we will be seeing US JOLTS, which is job opening and other things that are very, very important that I don't know the The words. I don't know what it is. Yeah, it's basically a job openings report and also labor costs as well. So what we have seen is that the job market is slowing down. This is a very good thing for us guys, because obviously, as we all know, the Jerome Powell, the Fed, they've all come together and they said, look, we want to make sure that we don't have a recession, but we get it, inflation under control. We want to make sure that we have X, Y, Z, but we still want inflation to be under control. But they haven't really been able to do that. So all they've done is just said, well, look, we can't get inflation under control. Why don't we just try and get like employment under control? So still there are too many job openings. We still see I guess unemployment still moving to the downside, unfortunately, or just not really moving at all. We want unemployment to go up. There's an expectation or a hope that unemployment will increase. This hasn't yet happened properly. And it was only last week during the earnings report that we saw the likes of Google say, look, we're going to start slowing down our hiring. So speaking of other major things that are going to be affecting us, obviously we know that Bitcoin and crypto is correlated with the NASDAQ. We can argue that it's not as much anymore, but the bottom line is there is still that correlation there, as we all know. So looking at what do we have coming up this week? We have AMD, we have SoFi, we have Uber. I'm going to keep it on the NASDAQ listed companies. We also have the likes of Robinhood, Qualcomm. We have Coinbase, PayPal, and I believe that's it. I don't know why my eyes were just drawn straight to Crocs. Imagine they come out and they start doing tech. That'd be crazy. But aside from that, guys, we do have some massive. Obviously, we're expecting BP to post record profits. I mean, like oil's been so expensive. Like, if you haven't been making money, what are you doing, BP? Especially when the cost to take a barrel of oil out of the ground, I think is around about $50. It differs across the world, but oil has been previously at what, bloody $110, and it costs 60 to get it out of the ground. So they're obviously going to be posting record profits. And I believe Shell, they announced a buyback scheme. So they're basically taking all their profits, they buy back their shares, and they increase the dividend. So this is another thing that we're going to be expecting. This could provide a bit of upward momentum to the likes of the NASDAQ, which also will then feed into crypto. So staying on this crypto, weaving back in, I want to show you a report from last week. So this is the Digital Asset Fund Flow weekly report. So it's just a weekly report of digital asset fund flow. So big institutions, what are they buying? Where are they buying it? How are they buying it? So they buy often through these different providers. And so we saw overall a lot of money flowing into Bitcoin. I think we're at that level where there's a bit of uncertainty. Are we going to hit down to 12K? Are we going to hit to 15K? No one really knows, but I feel like people are relatively confident now, even if it's just a small punt, having a go and seeing what it's like to be buying Bitcoin at these lower levels. So, I mean, it's not much. It's 13 million, guys, when you consider how much money these guys have. It's actually crazy. But money coming out, interestingly, of the likes of Ethereum, and also year to date down on Ethereum, which is pretty crazy. When you would have anticipated, because of the merge, a lot of people getting in and just staking. I did a video on this, but it doesn't seem to be the case. And we can look at the countries: Germany getting into Bitcoin, and also United States as well. Countries moving out: Canada, Brazil, Sweden, Switzerland, and that's pretty much it. So yeah, we can have a look and see, who it is who's interested. But overall, guys, I want to keep this relatively short and sweet. We do have this massive amounts of volatility coming up. This is what's going to be the fundamental drivers of the market itself. And obviously, we're expecting just a 75 basis point here. I highly doubt that there's going to be any major volatility. I don't think we're going to have like a snap decision where everyone's like, whoa, they did a 50 basis point hike. What? So I think, this is going to be fairly normal, fairly pedestrian. And so I don't expect too much movement. But like I said, the Fed press conference, this is where they're going to say, hey, look, guys, we think that things are going relatively well. We think that we're getting our hand under, getting it under control. And they're going to lay out a plan. But at the end of the day, the plan doesn't mean anything, because they've got 2 jobs reports and 2 CPI prints to come before they have their December meeting where they announce the rate hike. That's what's going to determine the price. price, or the rate hike, I should say, not this. Anyway, so like I said, we have the JOLTS report, we have earnings season still kicking off. We have a 75 basis point hike coming up, and previously we've seen money into Bitcoin, but not into other assets. That might give you some indication as to where you might want to put your money. Here it is. It's loaded up. Overall sentiment that we're looking at, just looking at Bloomberg. I'll show you the main page, the front line, the headline, should we say? Yeah, Musk, go on, boy. Crazy how Dogecoin has just been like pumping and stuff. Futures are falling before earnings. Central bank moves market wrap. So dollar is gaining, yen is weakening. Yeah, wheat, that's been a massive issue. Again, more worries about a global recession, people not being able to get food. But yes, dollar rising. This is not typically very good for Bitcoin or crypto. So I think we will see a bit of stagnation, not any major opportunities. And I'm just going to do a video pretty soon after this about what I think about the overall kind of state, should we say, of the crypto market, and also of the Fed. You know, what are we going to be looking at long term? This is something I want to bring you. But until then, I bid you farewell. Thank you very much. See you tomorrow.